This is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. Welcome to the Vintage Homeschool Moms Show. Your host, Felice Gerwitz, is an author, a publisher, and your radio show host. She will encourage, educate, and inspire you with answers to your most pressing questions from homeschool, marriage, parenting, and much more. Felice loves to equip moms to live a Christian life because every moment counts. Be sure to visit her website at mediaangels.com. And here's your host, Felice Gerwitz.
Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Felice Gerwitz, and this is another episode of Vintage Homeschool Moms. Today we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving crafts for kids. This is episode 235, and you can find the show notes at vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. And I'd like to thank our sponsor, Sony Pictures. Sony Animation, along with the firm's films, brings the Christmas story to life through the eyes of the animals in the Star movie. Look for the links in this podcast on Vintage Homeschool Moms, where you will also find the show notes for this episode. And we're thankful to Sony Pictures and Affirm Films for being our sponsors and for allowing you, the listener, to enjoy the benefits of free programming. So be sure to visit the movie trailer to see if it's a good fit for you and your family. Well, I love crafts, and especially holiday crafts like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And in this episode, I'm going to share some Thanksgiving crafts that are so much fun and easy to make. And what is really great about it is it can be decorative, or it can teach a character quality, or you can give it as gifts, or just have fun with it. So today what I've done is I've broken up some of these ideas into four categories. And the first is crafts for fun. The second is crafts for decoration. The third is crafts for gifts. And the fourth is crafts that encourage character. So I'm going to get started. And I also have links to some of these directions on how to make these things that I found online on Pinterest, and just kind of gathered them and organized them a little bit for you. And these are things that I selected that also fit this criteria. Number one, it must be something that the kids can make where it's not going to look horrible. I know a lot of times when kids make crafts, they're pretty disappointed with the results. And these are kind of foolproof, and they're not terribly expensive. One of the things I think is awesome is if you can find things around the house that you can use. If you live up north, which I do not, but just visited Atlanta, where I had my son go out and collect a bunch of fall leaves so I could bring them home to the grandkids and we could use them for crafts. But if you're up north, you've got lots of fall leaves, and you can use some of these for craft ideas, and I'm going to share with you some really fun ones. Also, you can use things like tissue paper. Of course, you want some that are, fall leaf colors like the yellows and the browns and the oranges, and then also that thick foam paper. I remember having stacks of it. In fact, I looked on Amazon before I did this podcast, and you can get a big bunch for like 100 pieces of foam. There are some that are different shapes and sizes. I wouldn't get those because it's easy to cut them. But if you get one of those packs that has a lot of foam in them, it's about $7, and you can use it all year round for different crafts. So you'll use more of one color during a specific season, but there are lots of fun seasons like Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas that you can make some of these crafts for, and it's nice to have that on hand. You may need to help the kids, using a X-Acto knife or something like that if you're cutting something out for them. Also, one of the fun things to do is get some stencils and have the kids trace it and cut them out with scissors, and then you can just go back and clean along the edges. What I always do when I work with little kids, and even my bigger kids, is I will say something like, "Can I help you with that?" Because I can tend to take over, and I found out that my kids always said, that things looked really great, and they didn't really know that I was going behind and kind of fixing things up. And if you ask them, usually they're really good about, wanting the help. And if you have older kids, this is a great time to have them work with the little ones. And also I have some really fun crafts for the older kids that make wonderful gifts, and with something that actually is plentiful here in Florida. So I'll share with you that in just a minute. So the first I'm going to talk about is crafts that are just fun. So things like turkey bag puppets. You can make turkeys are pretty easy to make. If you like the googly eyes, I used to keep a whole bag of googly eyes here at the house. And through the years, I thought that they got to be a hazard, especially if you have little ones. So I just like to draw a circle with a little black eye, or using just drawing a circle with a black Sharpie and using a blue Sharpie, or you can use, watercolor tipped markers if you don't want the kids to mess everything up. I don't know what it is with kids and Sharpies. They just love them. But you can make, bag puppets, which are really fun. You can also use leaf shapes for the fan or the feathers of a turkey. So you can do these little stand-ups of, taking ovals and cutting those out in different shapes, and then just drawing a straight line up the little oval and feathering it out like a tree. And then you can use the scallops, like a scallop half circle for the body. The front can be the turkey stationary, and then you put a couple of scallops behind, different sizes, and then just let the kids layer the feathers in the back. And that's a super easy craft that you can do with the little ones. And what I do is I have the stuff already traced out. They can cut it. If they need help cutting, that's great too. You can buy these kits. If you get catalogs or going online at Oriental Trading Company, that is one that has a lot of crafts. And if you're listening to this podcast, it may be after season, and that's usually the best time to stock up on these things. I know it takes space and you need to remember where you put the stuff. But I always bought things at the end of season and just kept them in a bin that had our craft stuff. And then when we were ready for them, we had them. So that's a fun craft to make. Another one is a turkey doorknob hanger. And again, just a fun little decorative thing that the kids can put on their doors at Christmas time. If more than one child is in the room, you can put little names on there that the kids can glue on. They can write their names, and you can cut them out again using that foam. Super cool. And all you do is you cut out a hole for the doorknob, or whatever your doorknob shape is, and you can do a template in just white paper, like just regular copy paper, and then you can use that, and then the little kids can take ovals or feather shapes if they want to draw those, and decorate their door hanger with the little feathers, and then draw a little turkey face that, again, you can do out of foam and cut out. And I think one of the things I like about the foam is it's dimensional, so it gives it more of a rich look rather than just using construction paper, which you can if you have that on hand. And the thing with construction paper is it does tear. So you can also find big sheets of contact paper. So you can get the clear contact paper at the grocery store, or at any like a Walmart kind of a store, Target, whatever, wherever you shop. And you can use that to cover construction paper, and then have the kids cut that out, and then it's going to be a little bit more durable. I like things to last year after year, and then it's kind of fun to pull it out, and the kids can laugh at their abilities. The next year, they'll be better able to do better. So that's always fun. Another one is just cutting out a pumpkin shape. If the kids want to do that and decorate it with fall leaves and then put their name on the back, they can use a large sheet of paper. If you have, orange or whatever color you want to make your pumpkin, and have that in a pumpkin shape. And that can actually, with contact paper, it makes a great placemat. So the kids can use that just for fun. Another one is just cutting out a turkey out of and making a shape out of pie plates. There's a ton of things you can do with pie plates. I feel like pie plates, paper plates, are the same as mason jars. And I have a podcast coming up about gifts that kids can make for Christmas. And I love the mason jars, but I feel like the pie plates, I'm not going to do a lot of examples of that, but I'm just going to give you two. And one of them is under the character, so I'll wait a little bit to share that. In fact, you can use the pie plate as a doorknob hanger as well. You can use that shape. But you can, so you have the round pie plate, and then what's nice about it is it tends to have ridges, and I'm talking about the really cheapy ones that you can get a huge stack of 100 for pretty cheap. And then the kids can take crayons and just color along the edges of that. Again, you can cut out a little turkey head, and then you can do a whole bunch of different things for the feathers. You can use fall leaves for the feathers. You can make them in the shape of candy corns. You can actually take candy corns and glue them on, which is, to me, it looks really, really festive. The problem with that is the kids want to eat them. My husband loves candy corns. I think it's like eating wax, flavored wax. But anyway, I'm always happy when I don't like a sweet, because if it's in the house, I won't eat it. So things like that look really, really cute, and they're just fun, and they're festive. Another craft that would be a just for fun craft. Actually, some of these overlap. So I guess that's all for the just for fun, because the rest are fun too. I'll do another one. This one actually is another paper plate one. I told you I like the paper plate. So you would take one paper plate and you would divide it into eighths, or you can do it into sixths, however you want to divide it. And so it's just like you're taking a paper plate and cutting it like a pizza. And then in each of those triangles, the kids are going to write something that they're thankful for. Then you're going to take another paper plate and put it over the top. And those little handy brads, which I absolutely love, you can make a hole and stick a brad in the middle of it. And, they pop open on the back, and that keeps it together. And the kids can write, I am thankful for, decorate the front of the plate, and then they swirl it, and it has the different areas that they're thankful for. And it just makes a fun little craft that they can do and, just have on the mantle. And then every day they can change it to something else that they're thankful for. And it helps them to realize the importance of being thankful. I actually did another podcast on encouraging kids to be thankful, and I'll put that link in the show notes. All right, here's my favorites. I guess I have so many favorites in this one. I like the crafts for gifts too, but crafts for decorations. So, and I had to send my daughter a text today because I don't have, I have pine trees in my yard, but they don't have a lot of pine cones. So I just sent my daughter a text today and said, hey, can you collect some pine cones? Because the little ones are all coming over this week, and we're going to be doing a lot of these crafts. So I'm excited about that, but I needed some pine cones. So you can do all kinds of things. You can get a glass bowl, put the pine cones in it, and that just looks festive in and of itself. You can use, fall leaves and make a nice display. You can also take the pine cones, if you have larger ones, and you paint the tips. So what I do is I take like a fall color, like an orange, but I'm going to add white to it. So it's going to give it a little bit of a tinge. If you have some kind of glossy, gloss that you can add to it, with acrylics, they sell, jars of gloss to make it a higher gloss. And then you just have the kids paint the tips of it, and it makes them look really, really pretty. You can just set them on the table alone, or again, put them in an arrangement. You can also collect fall leaves and glue that on a glass jar or container. Again, that's going to be what I'm going to talk about for the crafts, because it makes such a beautiful display. So I like Mod Podge, or you can use like just Elmer's glue, and you just take the top off, get a cheap paintbrush, but you're going to want to have a paintbrush. And the reason I say cheap is because they tend to get gloppy with glue. And unless you have a really good brush cleaner, it's hard to get the glue out, even using soap. So you're going to take these clear containers. You can use, those glasses that you buy, and sometimes the dishwasher etches them, and you really can't use them anymore for guests. And you're tired of looking at them. Well, you can use those. You can use, they don't really have the jelly glass jars anymore like we used to when we were kids. They would sell jelly in jars that you could use to have as glasses, and maybe there still are some out there. But whatever you get, you can get them at a thrift store, or you can even use mason jars. I love that. But anyway, they would be clear, and then you can use, the leaves have to be fresh, because if they're too stiff and brittle, then they will dry. So you can do a couple of things. One, you can press the leaves, the fall leaves, with wax paper to just kind of flatten and dry them out. And then the kids can use that to glue them to the glass, and it kind of gives it a translucent look. And then you can put things like candles in it, which are, don't always work as well as the little battery-powered candles, and you can get those on sale. They're kind of pricey unless they're on sale. So maybe you can, or have a great source, share it with me on the podcast. You can go to Vintage Homeschool Moms, look for Thanksgiving Crafts for Kids, episode 235, and there you can leave a comment. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please share those with us. Under crafts for decorations, this is probably my biggest category, is you can use, again, smaller containers, again, doing the leaves. You can use, the leaves can be made out of tissue paper, and that makes it really pretty if you're gluing those on. That's a little bit older kid craft, because they do tend to tear and break with the glue, and little kids kind of get upset when that happens. You can make a wreath. Again, paper plate, cut out a big hole for the center to make a wreath, and then have the kids glue their fall leaves on there, or use construction paper to cut out leaves. And then they can put a scripture verse on there, and you can hang that like in the middle and have the kids letter a scripture verse. Or I'm going to share with you something that I think is great that a lot of you may not know about. Those of us that are in business tend to know about it, but it's called Font Squirrel, and you can get really pretty fonts for your computer. So if you have any kind of word processing program, you can go on Font Squirrel and download the font, and they have really pretty scrolly fonts. Some you have to buy, but you just look under free fonts, and as long as you're using them for home use, you're free to use them. There is some licensing issues if you're going to use them for things which you don't need to worry about, because you're just using them for crafts at home. And you can use a really pretty font and have the kids type out a scripture verse and use that. And believe me, that will be a keepsake year after year. And it also can be on the leaves. The little kids can write things that they're thankful for, and you can use it as a decoration. Let's see what else I want to share with you here. You can also do a Happy Thanksgiving banner. So what you do with that is you can write Happy and Thanksgiving, and each letter can be on a separate sheet of paper. I've done this with watercolor paper, which is a thicker paper, and I just cut it in half. And then each of the letters, I would letter it and have the kids trace over it. Or if you go to Font Squirrel and you want to print out like a 72-point font for, to fill a sheet of paper, and then just print out each sheet of paper. And then the kids can take glitter and, take glue and just trace over the thanks Happy and Thanksgiving, and then just put different colors of glitter on it. Again, this is an outside. I don't know if you've ever heard me speak. Glitter is not my friend. I tend to have it all over the place whenever we use it, but I would let the kids use it outside, and then I would take one of those clear a spray. It's kind of toxic, so I use it outdoors, and I would spray it. It affixes the glitter as much as possible, and I swear I still get glitter on things. But then you can take yarn or string or ribbon and glue the words. So like happy would be on one set of string, and Thanksgiving would be on another, and you can pull the happy straight across on a mantle and then have the Thanksgiving drape under it, and it's really, really pretty. The kids can give that as a gift or use it themselves however they want. And let's see here, what else is on my list? Of course, another would be a wreath that you would do with just cutouts of leaves, and the kids would write, they can just write one word. You can use some of this as school and just have the kids print or letter, and that's a super fun thing to do. We are going to take a really quick commercial break, and when I come back, I'm going to share with you some more things. And if you're listening to this in the car or you don't have a pen, don't worry about it because it's all in the show notes. We'll be right back after this quick message.
Affirm Films and Sony Pictures Animation present The Star, the fully animated story of the first Christmas told through a whole new set of eyes. Bo the donkey and his stable of animal friends follow the star to become some unlikely heroes.
That light, that's the star. This is where it's been leading me. What's his name?
His name is Jesus.
The Star, now playing. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. More information is available at thestarmovie.com.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Can you tell I'm excited about the Thanksgiving crafts for kids? This is one of my favorite episodes, talking about crafts. It's something I love to do. So this is episode 235, and you can find the show notes at vintagehomeschoolmoms.com. So now we're going to talk about crafts for kids, and I'm going to go through some of these, and again, there'll be more on the website. So the first I shared with you already is having those glass jars where you have the kids glue on some fall leaves and then put a candle in it, or a little battery-powered candle, and you can give that as a gift. You can have the kids make bracelets with orange, brown, and yellow fall colors to give to guests. You can take, there's all kinds of clay that hardens now. I remember back in the day, we would really have a hard time, or it would be super expensive to find craft clay that the kids could shape into beads. Now it's not quite as expensive, but there are also some great alternatives that you can buy at the craft store. And you can just buy beads that already have the words on it, but I like it so much better when the kids make their own beads and they harden and then they paint them and then they write something on there. But they can write something, to be thankful for. And then as the guests come in the house or as you go to someone's house, you can give them as gifts. Trail mix is another great thing. The kids have fun filling festive containers, or you can use, clear bags, or even taking little paper cups and having the kids decorate it, and then using popsicle sticks and drawing a little pilgrim face on it, a little Indian, or a little turkey, and gluing that to the popsicle stick and putting that behind the treats in a paper cup. That's a really fun thing. It's always fun to be able to make a craft and then give it as a gift, so it's doubly fun. You can do, when I was talking about the trail mix or candy even, is there's a bunch of little clear bags you can buy. I just use little Ziploc bags. They work really well, and then buy some really pretty ribbon. And the kids can do all kinds of different things. They can print out a scripture verse, or they can write a poem or something like that. And then you just take that, the kids can do it on the computer, again, with a really pretty font, and print it out, and then have the kids color the edges. You can just do it in black and white, and then have the kids decorate the edges or decorate it in some shape. Again, a fun thing to do. Another fun thing to do to give as a gift is to have the kids, again, using that thick foam, is to do a picture frame. So it can be a picture of them out at a pumpkin patch, or some kind of in the fall leaves, or however you want, whatever picture you want to use, and then the kids can decorate the front of it. They can make shapes out of fall leaves, and they can, write something like "Be thankful" or "Give thanks," or "I'm thankful for you," or "I love you," or whatever, and use that picture frame and give that to a grandparent. A fun thing is a coaster. If you can find those just circle cork, you can buy a piece of cork with a adhesive backing at any home supply store, and then just cut it out in circles and have that done ahead of time, and then you can make a turkey. Just a little turkey again out of that foam, and have the kids glue that cork as the stomach of the turkey and give that as a coaster. Super cute gift. And so, things like that. Another one is to take an envelope, and you can take any envelope you have at the house, just cut out a circle and make 2 little eyes and make a little turkey nose on it, and then use that to put some kind of candy. So either some kind of flat candy bar, and then you can decorate the back of it with some, craft fall leaves, or have the kids make it. Another thing is to take it's so funny. I have some of these containers, and when I saw this, I thought, I've been keeping these. They're just little, it's like if you ever try to plant something and grow the seeds first, they're just little tiny, planters, and you can fill that with some kind of candy in a little clear plastic bag, tie a ribbon on it, and do a little turkey front, little head. The kids can just take their thumb, trace over it, or an adult thumb if you want, draw 2 little eyes, and even a heart for the nose of a turkey, and then an oval for underneath the turkey's nose, and it looks great. You can go online and find lots of pictures, and I do have some links of some craft ideas on the website as well. You can give gifts that you bake. So I have this amazing recipe for pumpkin bread, and you can also make those in, those little ramekins, and then give that as a gift, and just buy some of that clear wrap. It's super cheap. I bought some at the dollar store that has lasted forever with a beautiful ribbon, and have the kids write a scripture verse or something like that, a name tag. And then the kids can give that as a gift, and because they're helping you make the pumpkin bread. All right, crafts that encourage character. A thankful jar, daily. Add a little card about what you're thankful for that day, and have the kids fill that up. You can read a card each night at family dinner. You can write 1 word or more about each person and slip it under their plate. Each person can do this for another member of the family. If you have a larger family, you can assign numbers, and the kids can each pick one, and keep it, a mystery. It kind of is fun with the kids. Little ones, of course, have a harder time keeping secrets. You can make a thankful tree. I love those. You can either use some dried branches and stick them in a jar, or, use some plaster Paris and a little planter and put that in a jar, and have the kids, you cut out leaves and write on there what they're thankful for with different colors. And by Thanksgiving, it's beautiful. My other favorites are the placemats. I just love when the kids make placemats. So they can do one of, what they're thankful for out of a big sheet of paper, or they can even, if they're really, really crafty, you can have them just take another sheet of paper, poke holes in it, and just do little strips of different colored tissue paper with the words "Give Thanks" that they can color in the middle. And then you can, again, take the contact paper and just cover over that. Another one that teaches character is just doing a tree out of construction paper and giving the kids leaves each day. And then that beautiful tree, you can put that up on the wall, and every day they can add leaves to it until it's this beautiful full tree. Another is just having them you can get some linen. If you're really good at sewing, you can make gifts to give as well. So some of these encourage character, and some of them can be given for gifts. A lot of these go into both categories. But the kids can write a scripture verse and, use another sheet of paper, have them write on that, and then you can use the kind that you can just iron on. So if they mess up, you can, you're not ruining a piece of linen or whatever you want to do. So if you're giving gift towels, that works great, or even hand towels, and the kids can just write on it and you can just iron it on. If they're really good at lettering, you can have the older kids do this and, just write a scripture verse on there and decorate it with permanent marker or fabric marker, and that works really great. Well, I hope some of these ideas will be blessings for you and your family. There are more on the website. I have some links to these really great Thanksgiving desserts that you can make with the kids that are super fun. And, whatever you do, just remember to enjoy those little blessings that you have underfoot, or if you're like me and your little blessings are grown up. My youngest now is 17, so I have to borrow the grandkids, but I love it because, God has just so provided that I still have an outlet for sharing my craft ideas with you guys, my podcast family, as well as my own family. Take care, God bless, and I'll talk to you soon. Remember to get the show notes on Vintage Homeschool Moms, podcast 235, Thanksgiving Crafts for Kids.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Homeschool Mom Show. Visit Felice at MediaAngels.com and thevintagehomeschoolmoms.com. Vintage Homeschool Moms is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network.